And he come up, and we're sitting at the dinner table, and he guy was out in the alley, up the alley, he says, "Corn hash, pepper hash, yo, Bill." He said, "Corn hash, pepper hash, yo, Bill." And my father said, "Get out of there."
Oh man.
He had a lot of weight in him. He hit, when he hit, you know. But he wasn't quick as I was.
He was as quick as you. Okay.
Bill was quick, but he had the left hand. You had to watch the left hand. He didn't. The left hand wasn't the one that got you. It was usually the right.
Yeah, he was high.
But you had to watch it. He come out with that left hand and keep poking you in the face. That's the idea.
Jabbing with.
Rich was, yeah, I took him. I beat my uncles in high school.
There you
I mean
go.
my cousins. I had a cousin, Fred Toolish. He was from the high school. He fought, but he didn't last long. And I took him out.
Took him out.
Took him out quick.
Alright.
Do you remember when and how your father died? Yes. I was 6 years old in St. Monica School, first grade, or almost 6 or thereabouts. And my brother John and Bill were home. And my father died at the University of Pennsylvania Hospital from kidney failure. They brought his remaining things home, like the belt, the wallet, and then some of his clothes.
How-
And they called.
How old was he?
Huh?
How old was he?
He was 37 years old, and they came to St. Monica's and told the sister that what happened, and she dismissed me to go home with the family, and we went home with the family, and everybody gathered in the living room and making arrangements. They were making arrangements for his funeral.
So you're in first grade?
Pardon?
You were in first grade?
Pardon?
You were in first grade?
I was in first grade. At the St. Monica's.
How old was John?
Pardon?
How old was John? Your Uncle John. Uncle John, how old was John?
John was about 15 or 16, maybe
17.
16.
Well, you were 7.
I was 7. He was 16, and Bill was
Bill's 9 years
15.
older than you,
Huh?
and Bill is 9 years older than you, and John is 11 years older than you.
Right.
So he was
So
about
17 and 16.
And what year was it?
1914. Well,
1930s.
they got married, I guess, in 1913. So put
It was 1933.
when?
It was 1933. 'Cause
Oh,
you
when
were
he
7
died
years
in
old.
1933. Yes.
So, he died in 1930. So he died in the heart of the Depression then?
No, depression didn't start till 29.
Oh, okay. But he died in 1933.
Oh, he died in the depression. Yeah, right at the height, leaving my mother with 6 young boys and a girl to take care of.
And what was his weekly income?
Pardon?
What was his weekly income?
At that time,
Yeah.
it might have been up to $14 a week. I don't know, and somewhere there. We never talked much about that, but I'm sure it was. As the things went on, as the years went on, things for the price got a little higher. But during the Depression, things were very, very cheap.
How did your mom make ends meet after that?
Well, that I think you want to wait till we go into the Depression.
Okay.
'Cause there's a lot of things some more things I got to do on research.
Okay. What's your strongest memory of your father?
Pardon?
What was the strongest memories you have of your father?
Oh my head. Oh my.
Oh, That one I was talking about, the spanking.
Yeah.
Did I tell you pre to that?
Now, what did you do to get spanked?
Well, every Sunday after dinner in the evening, and if everybody's homework was done for Monday, we would be allowed in the living room. You weren't allowed in the living room during the week, except on special occasions. We would go into the living room about 6:30, and somebody would go out for ice cream, a couple quarts, and we'd sit in the living room and eat ice cream and listen to Eddie Cantor and Jack Benny. And after that, we would go to bed. And that's the one I got the spanking.
What'd you do?
I don't know, but I was blamed for everything that night.
And
All right, we go on. What was your home in Phoenixville like? Well, it was a row home next to the Hungarian American Club. A lot of space on the one side of us. The yard was not very big. It's kind of like the Philadelphia homes, except it was a little bigger. We had 3 bedrooms and a bath on the second floor, and we had a full-size attic where all the older boys slept, and we and Rich and Dolores and I and my mother slept on the lower floor, the second floor. And pretty much, as I say, it was on Walnut Street, and it was a acceptable home, and we lived with the Hungarians, the Slovaks, and Ukrainians, and a few Irish. It's pretty much what Phoenixville was like.
you didn't finish telling about how your dad spanked you.
Huh?
You didn't finish telling about how your father spanked you.
What do you mean you didn't finish
Didn't he?
it?
Didn't you have a loose tooth that
Yeah,
night?
I had a loose tooth. I was 6 years old, or thereabouts, and had a loose tooth. I had a sore hiney after that, and my head ached.
But how did he spank you? Did he hold
The
you?
way he always does. Well, he held me by my feet that night, and he usually locked you in he put you over his knee and locked the other knee over you. That's the way he normally did, but this night he just picked me up and turned me upside down and gave me a few whacks, and every time he hit me, I said something was loose.
You're not gonna say it, are you?
Huh?
You gonna say it?
What?
What'd you say when you got
Oh
spanked?
yeah, on my head, on my ass, on my on my tooth. That's pretty much was it. But I said they must have went downstairs and had a good laugh.
I'm sure. Did he? Was he one of those ones that made you go out and cut your own switch to get spanked with, or he just hit?
No, he had a razor strap that he would use, and with Caddy Nine Tail, he'd take a broom handle, take the Caddy Nine Tail, which is a razor strap, which is leather. He slice it up in about 10 or 12 slits, huh?
9.
Nine, Caddy nine, yeah, 9 slits. Tack it to the part of the broom handle, and it was like an old-fashioned whip.
You were allowed to
Kept you in
spank
line.
your children in those days.
Where were all the places I lived? Let's see. We lived in Phoenixville. Well, first when we moved up from Philadelphia, my mother wanted to get out of South Philadelphia because there was a lot of gangsters and a lot of bad influence down there at the time. So she realized that she didn't want to, with all these boys, she didn't want to. She told me she didn't want to live in South Philadelphia. So we moved to Oaks in Phoenix, we moved to my grandfather's house in Oaks. With my uncle had half the house. It was a big house, and we had the other half of the house. That house had a living room, a kitchen, It was a rec room which we turned into a dining room. Very big, three bedrooms on the second floor and 3 bedrooms on the third floor. And every room had a fireplace, and it went down to the cellar. When we were visiting one night, we slept up there, and of course, being city kids, we didn't realize what the country was like, and we'd go up and go to bed at night, and my grandfather would get down in one of the chimneys at the bottom, and he used to say, "Ah, Mr. Murphy, ah, Mr. Murphy." And we didn't know who Mr. Murphy was, but we all got scared and put our heads under the covers. So he was quite a gentleman, my grandfather, Toolish. I didn't know my grandfather O'Malley. I knew my grandmother O'Malley. She was pretty much like an Irish woman, and she could count money better than most of the people today.
Yeah.
I didn't know my grandmother Toolish. She died before. But my grandfather's Toolish. He was a painter. He was a like church painter, ceilings and decorative painting. Did all. And they had gilts and golds and stuff, all kind of paints.
Mm-hmm.
He was a great golfer, good golfer. Played golf with some of the more prominent people in the area. He could shoot pool. Very outgoing. He had this home with had strawberries on it, mulberry bushes, black cherry trees, peach trees, pear trees, asparagus patches, dandelion patches, and he was quite handy. He made his own beer. He made his own soda. He made his own wines, elderberry wine, blackberry wine, you name it, he made it. And down in the cellar it was like a brewery, and he kept that under lock and key. And he had a shed out in the back. It was very thing with a lock and key on it. He would not let anybody in it. And in there he kept. Oh, he was a fisherman. He kept all his fishing gear, all his golf clubs, all his paints and brushes, and everything that he did use for working. Everything that was dear to him was locked in that shed, and everything that was drinkable was down in the cellar. That was my grandfather Toolish, that I remember. Okay, from Oaks, I don't know why, but we moved to Port Providence. And when we moved to Port Providence, Bill met Heidi. And
How old was he?
they were neighbors about 4 doors down on the same side. We lived, and their name was Hoffman. The second marriage, Heidi wasn't her first name, but the second name was Hoffman. They lived next door to a 2-room schoolhouse, which I attended for a couple of years.
How old was Uncle Bill?
And
How old was Uncle Bill when he made it?
I say he was 18. And when did they get married, hon? I don't remember how old they were when they got married. She was younger, but I'd say they were in the. I guess Bill was about 18, maybe, so in that area, maybe 19, somewhere in that general area. John was 20, 21, and Tom. A little younger, and Joe, and so the townspeople were harassing Bill because we just moved into the place, and they didn't want anybody, I guess, courting the local girls, and Joe at the time was going with we'll start going with Lib's sister. Her name was Sis. I don't know what her. I don't know if that was Loyola or not, but we all called her Sis. And so the friction was going on for about a month or so. So one of the guys come up to Bill and said, one of these nights we're gonna come gang up on you and beat the whole O'Malley family up. Just so happens that the weekend they picked was a friend of Bill's. His name was Bill Freeman. He was a South Philadelphia boy with one of Bill's friends. Was up for the weekend, and he was a pretty sturdy boy, just like Tom, about his size, pretty good sized boy. So this one night about 8 o'clock, the gang came down the street like a vigilante, and Bill was in the house, and Bill and Joe were in the house, and they weren't going to let Bill, or they kept calling Bill out. Well, Bill, he didn't want to go out by himself, so Joe snuck out the back door, up over our fence, come up the backyard, come in, and told John, Tom, and Bill Freeman that Bill was in trouble. So with that, they sent Joe back to tell him about 10 minutes for Bill to come outside. And when he did, the guys come up on the front lawn to get Bill. And when that Bill, what did I say his name was?
Bill Freeman.
Huh?
Bill Freeman.
Bill Freeman and Joe got him from John, Tom, Bill Freeman, and Joe. Got him from behind. Bill and John got him, or Bill and Joe got him from the front, and it started all over the street, and it rounded up over at the schoolhouse. Well, John had this guy, was one of the fathers was even there, one of the Ritter, what they called the Ritter father. John had him up against the schoolhouse, pounding his head against the wall, and they really knocked the stuff out of him. So after Mr. Ritter dropped, they knew they were in trouble because he was bleeding from the face. So they called the ambulance and took Ritter to the hospital with a concussion. But the fight broke up, and those guys dispatched. They went about their own business, and it was always known as O'Malley's beating up the whole town of Port Providence. And we had a lot of respect after that.
And what happened with Uncle Bill and Heidi?
Well, you can see they got married.
And lived happily ever after?
Yeah, they married and moved up to an apartment in Phoenixville. Bill at that point in time, it just so happens Bill got a job with B.F. Goodrich, and he was making the most money, almost as much money as anybody we heard of, $1 an hour. So it's $40 an hour, $40 a week. So he was doing great.
All right.